If you've ever wondered why some people's beats hit louder and way harder, especially on platforms like YouTube, BeatStars, I noticed there was a ton of bad advice out there, or they just don't have all the information you need, so I want to make a tutorial, start to finish, about how to actually get there. Keep in mind, this is an advanced tutorial. It's not just a soft clipper on the master type thing, so make sure not to skip around too much because you'll miss important information. So yeah, let's go. So when I did this Travis Scott tutorial, I got tons of DMs, people wanting to know how the beat was mixed, so I'm breaking it down today. So I like to start with the drums first. Solo your main clap or snare sound. For me, it's this right here, and it's actually layered 3 times. And one thing that I preach is you can't save bad sound selection. Stacking a sharp snare, a medium sharp snare, and then a reverbed out snare can end up sounding a lot better than just EQing the first snare and adding reverb to it. It's true. So let's mix this. First thing you're going to want to do with virtually every sound if you want the cleanest sound possible is just remove any unwanted frequencies. I'll leave an EQ cheat sheet on the screen, and you can really use this to kind of get whatever sound you want out of your snare. If your snare sounds thin, boost the low end, obviously. Normally right around 300 hertz. If you want your snare to punch through more, you're going to want to boost right around the presence, around 3500. But by default, let's just remove some of the lows that aren't needed. And then for a little bit of crisp, let's boost the high end. Nice. Now for the hi-hats, those are also layered. Normal one and a low-pitched one. You're going to want to do the same thing. So remove some of those lows and keep going up until you start to hear the body of the hi-hat go away. So that's too far. Let's back up some. Right about there is perfectly fine. There are 2 problems people can run into with their hi-hats. If you have a hi-hat like this, it's not like an ultra short hi-hat, then what you can do is boost it just a little bit. You're going to get a lot more of a clean sound out of it. Now, if it's the opposite and your hi-hat is super short, small sounding, and you want to beef that up, do the opposite, because what that does is it pushes up all the surrounding frequencies and makes it sound more thick and full. For now, I'll just leave it boosted. Next thing I like to do is add just a tiny bit of chorus. And you can use any chorus plugin you want, but this chorus plugin right here works super well. Just add just a tiny bit, about 12%. It really widens it out quite a bit. Then for the low hat, do the same thing. Next, we'll just repeat this process with the open hats. Add just a tiny bit of chorus on that. This one needs a lot of chorus. It's super tight, pretty thin. Let's boost the highs. All right, now that we've gotten to the 808, there's a lot that can be done here. I'll show you a few tricks. So first off, if you want your 808 to be deeper, you're going to want to reduce the 150 range and then turn on the Lin button right here. This stops any weird artifacts from happening whenever you start EQing the 808. Essentially, when you dip around 100 hertz all the way up to about 150, it gives the 808 a deeper tone. So when we go to turn it up, it's really going to hit. If you have an 808 that you just can't really hear in the mix at all, you're going to want to do the opposite. Boost this range right here. Do this especially if you have a really full mix. But for this beat specifically, this curve right here makes my 808 sound deeper and overall more refined. This is without it. This is with it. Now, there's another really fancy plugin that I use. This is a free plugin and it actually widens your 808. Most people think that you can't do that, but it's not true. You just shouldn't widen the sub frequencies. Let's turn it to about 400. And what this does is it widens the low mids and mids of the 808. Turn the side harmonics all the way to 100% and then turn the width down until you like where it's at. 400 might have been a little too deep. Let's turn it up to about 1000. So before, after. So in this case, we'll just do a very tiny bit, about 25%. Then for the kick, we're going to ignore the kick until the very end. If I try to mix a kick right now, it's probably not going to turn out right because I don't know how it's going to hit once we add limiters and soft clippers. Just turn that off for now. Now let's make sure the melody is clean. The melody should be wide, textured, and as clean as possible. Now this is generally subjective how much you want to EQ and change up your melody. It already sounds pretty wide. But if you want it to be wider, just go ahead and throw on some chorus or something similar. Simple as that. But it does have some extra lows we do need to get rid of. All right, now I'm going to flash up this EQ cheat sheet on the screen again, and you're going to want to check those different frequency ranges for any red flags. And a good way to do this is to just notch right here with your scroll wheel, make it small, and then boost it up. Now, when you scan, if you hear any frequencies that are just super loud, so loud that it's insane, then you're probably going to want to turn it down a little bit. Or in other words, any frequencies that agitate you. There will be some frequencies that are louder, but we're looking for ones that are insanely loud, crazy peaks. I never like 500 hertz. This is just a muddy frequency. If your melody sounds muddy, you're gonna wanna reduce that. Cool, now let's keep looking. So right around here, let's just reduce that just a tiny bit. Actually shelf some of the high end, because it's almost a little bit too bright. And for this accent, let's do the same thing, remove those lows. Then for the lead, I just had some reverb on it with guitar rig, and this is how I EQ'd it, because I had a ton of high end. If I turn this off, you hear that hiss? You're gonna wanna get rid of that. So now it sounds way smoother. Unless it's there on purpose, like a vintage melody, there shouldn't be any hiss, there should be no honk, harshness, or resonance of any kind, like this cheat sheet says. Cool, now next I had this vocal, and this is a pretty complicated mix change, so let me break this down. It's a really cool way to make some custom vocals. So first off, I found this vocal.
What do you feel now?
First thing I put on here was this plugin called soundid voiceai, and essentially it allows you to change the actual voice like a literal preset. So if you want to go from female to male, or let's say the recording quality isn't the greatest and you need it higher quality, this helps you do that. Just click capture.
What do you feel now?
Now it's analyzing, and we have different voices to choose from.
Nothing can hold,
But I keep rising, shake.
nothing. I reach out.
So let's go with the male voice that I had, and now we have this.
What do you feel now?
Way higher quality. Or we can do like a different sort of female voice.
What do you feel now?
Super dope, bro. So yeah, let's go back to Henry. Then I put in Edison after, and I recorded.
What do you feel now?
Just drop this in, and now turn these off. And then I pitched this up 7, and then I pulled this one back, and then I added this one right here. And then this just copies over. So now we fixed the recording and got a pitched vocal chop. A way to make your voice sound like exotic and interesting is to add an Ultra Boy, and you can mess with the format right here. So if I turn it down, that's how you get that Q Beats vocal. Now I pitched it up. Okay, hear me out. Add a ton of reverb with Guitar Rig 6. Starting to get clean. Add that chorus to spread it out, and add a filter. And then I did the same EQ we did earlier to clean up the sounds. If you got this far in the video, it's a little inside joke we do. It looks hilarious and super weird to people who don't know what you're talking about. Comment this. Yeah, appreciate it, bro. Let's get back to it. Cool, so now that we've mixed everything here, we can turn on everything except for the kick and get into leveling. So all those cheat sheets that you see on Instagram for leveling, like, oh, the snare should be this loud, the hi-hat should be this loud, it's all bullshit. All of it. I'll tell you why. This snare sound right here, it's peaking at 9 dB. If I add a limiter and then I crank the gain all the way up and then I limit it to 9 dB, which sounds louder, this or this? Exactly. They're both hitting at 9 dB, but one's way louder than the other. This has to do with perceived loudness. This is where LUFS comes into play. Now, because of this, if you suck at leveling, there are 2 surefire ways to level any track. The best way by far is by using a reference track that you know is mixed right. So I have this beat that I made a while ago that was mixed really well. Turn this down to about -9 dB. And then you're going to want to go through each one of these sounds and try to make sure that everything hits about as loud as this. Most importantly, your melody, your clap, your hi-hat, and your 808. Just those 4 things. If you can just get those right, everything else doesn't really matter that much. It's subjective. Another easy way to make sure you do this right is by clicking this once to get this view right here. You see this curve? Make sure your beat looks similar to that. As always, let's start with the drums, play them at the same time. Kind of imagine that this snare right here is the main snare in this song. It's gonna sound a little chaotic, the BPM's different and everything. Just try to match it the best you can. So that sounds about on par with this clap sound, which is the main clap sound. Next, the hi-hats. Open hat. 808. Like I said, it is chaotic. Do your best. So let's turn that reference off. Now let's turn the melody down until it's not overpowering the drums. About like that. If we look up here, here's our curve. Let's see if it matches. Looks pretty similar. So yeah, the second way to level things is more for if you want to train your ears to learn the perfect mix curve by downloading Pink Noise. I'll leave a link in the description. Pink Noise has the optimal mix curve. So what you're going to want to do is download this, replace the reference with the Pink Noise. So you're going to want to set it to about -3 dB. You start with the drums as usual and raise up each sound so that you can barely hear it above the Pink Noise. This way you're pretty much matching the curve of the Pink Noise. Just like that, so I can barely hear it. Do the hi-hats next. Next to the open hat. Melody. So now we have this. That sounds honestly really good. And if you remember what the reference looks like, it's pretty similar. All right, now to make sure your levels are absolutely perfect, we need to do a car test and like an AirPods test or something like that. The reason when you go out to your car and the mix sounds like trash is because your headphones are probably lying to you. No headphones are perfect. Even these, which are industry standard. They have boosts in the low end, the mids, etc. The ideal mix environment is perfectly flat, and this flattens it for you. There's this plugin called soundid reference. What you do with this is go to calibration profile, add headphones, search for your headphones right here. It corrects it and makes it perfect. And you can calibrate your AirPods and turn them into studio headphones, Beats, Skull Candy, whatever you have. So that's completely flat, so it allows you to hear how loud things actually are. The coolest part about this software is a translation check. So it actually replicates different car systems, as well as headphones, laptops, smartphones, studio speakers, etc. Click through these, and if you hear anything that's abnormally loud or not loud enough, fix it. So I probably would prefer the snare to be a little louder. Let's turn down the low hi-hat. Turn up the open hat. So yeah, car sounds perfect. Let's do AirPods. So let's actually boost the 808 just a little bit. All right, now the best part, mastering. First thing that you're going to want to add on is an EQ. And a really good technique for making your 808 sound louder than it is boost the 808 a couple more dB, and then you literally just turn that down. This way, all the other frequencies in the 808, especially in the mids, they're pushed up. It creates the feeling of a more prominent 808 without it actually being more prominent. Just make sure whenever you do this, turn on the Lin right here. If it's off, sometimes there can be little artifacts that pop up when you EQ low end with a parametric EQ. This is my secret weapon, bro. Mo TT. Turn it up to between 15 and 40%. For this beat, I used a lot, so around 32%. Essentially what this is a multi-band compressor. This is my secret to getting super loud beats. It really glues everything together. All the little details in your beat, it brings them to the surface. So this is before. After. Like, it just makes it sound so professional, bro. So if you don't have Mo TT, you can use OTT. Basically the same thing as Mo TT. Turn your mids down just a little bit and then turn the highs down just so. And then turn the depth to the same percentage. Finally, the best part, soft clipper. Default settings, add it right after the Mo TT. Just turn the gain up right here into the soft clipper until it distorts the way you want. As soon as it started sounding too distorted, I backed off a little bit. Now, at this point, we can add the kick back in, so we'll start turning that up. And boom, just like that. See, without the master chain, the kick would sound like it's way too much, but with the master chain, it sounds perfect. So that's all I meant by it's hard to level a kick without a master chain on first. All right, now if you want to get a little more advanced and you want the cleanest sound humanly possible, here's the second way. First, we're going to remove the EQ and open up patcher, and we're going to open up mid-side EQ. This splits EQing into side and mid. So let's unlink the side so we can just focus on the mid. Double click there, and now we're only hearing frequencies in the middle of our headset. So let's turn on Lin and do the same thing earlier and reduce that low end since we did boost the 808. And remember to search for any bad frequencies with that cheat sheet I showed you earlier. Now let's do the side. Add a dip right here to create some separation. And now we're going to boost the high end a ton. This subtly adds some extra width to your mix. Now, since we added more highs to the side, we're probably going to have to take some out of the mid. So let's just reduce that slightly because we're going to give and take here. So overall, just more clean. Now add the same MOTT on or OTT. And then now, instead of a soft clipper, we're gonna add a limiter. And you're gonna wanna set this up a very specific way. The old way people will tell you to do it is turn down these and then just turn the gain up, including me, I used to do it that way. Better way to do it is just turn the ceiling all the way up so that you just see a purple line, then turn the saturation down just a little bit. And this creates a new line. So instead of being limited by the ceiling, it's now limited by the saturation. Now you just turn the gain up. You see how this is a lot cleaner than the ceiling? The ceiling distorts in a really unsatisfying way. Sounds trash with the ceiling. So yeah, all that's left is to just check your levels again using Sound ID, check it in the car, smartphones, AirPods, etc. And yeah, here's our mix. So yeah, if you enjoyed this tutorial, definitely let me know in the comments and let me know what I should do next. So yeah, till next time.